A crow remembers your face, not your general shape, not your size, your face, specifically yours. And right now, somewhere in your city, one of them is looking for you. This is not a metaphor. This is peer-reviewed science, and it changes everything you thought you knew about the bird you have been ignoring your entire life. Welcome to Known by Birds. Stay until the end, because the last thing we cover is the one thing about crows that even scientists find genuinely difficult to explain. Why did the crow attack you? Let us start there. The attack almost certainly happened between April and July. You were walking below or near a tree. You may not have seen the nest. The crow saw you. Crows are cooperative breeders. Both parents guard the nest. During nesting season, their threat threshold drops to near zero. Anything that passes within their perceived danger zone, which can extend up to 150 feet from the nest, becomes a potential target. The dive is almost always from behind. Crows do not attack faces. They attack the back of the head. The reason is evolutionary. A predator approaching a nest would be facing away from the crow. The crow targets the vulnerability, not the threat. But here's where the crow becomes something else entirely. It remembered you. In 2010, Dr. John Marsloff at the University of Washington published what became one of the most cited studies in animal cognition. His team wore latex caveman masks while capturing and banding wild crows near the university campus. Then they walked the same routes with the same masks without capturing any birds. The crows attacked the mask, not a mask, the specific mask, the face that had threatened them. But it goes further. Crows that had never been captured themselves began mobbing the caveman mask. They had learned from other crows which face represented a threat. The recognition spread through the crow population without direct experience. The study ran for 5 years. The recognition did not fade. If anything, it spread further. More crows recognized the dangerous face over time, not fewer. The original birds had taught others who taught others. A face, a specific face, remembered and shared for 5 years. This means that if a crow targeted you this spring, you are now in a database. Not your name, not your address, your face. And that information is being shared right now with every crow in your neighborhood. Now, why does wearing a cap make it worse? Crows recognize faces through visual pattern recognition centered on specific features, the eyes, nose, and mouth configuration. A hat obscures the top of the head but leaves the face visible. This part makes sense. But here's the problem. Crows attack from behind. From behind, a capped head looks fundamentally different from an uncapped one. To a crow attacking from the rear, the cap creates a visual target, a specific shape at the back of the head that is different from what it expects. Additionally, crows that have memorized the profile of a specific person they consider threatening may actually identify that person more readily when wearing a hat, because they have memorized the hat as part of the threat profile. Seattle crow researcher John Marsloff found that wearing eye-printed patterns on the back of a hat, fake eyes facing backward, significantly reduced crow attacks. Crows attack the back of the head precisely because they believe they are unseen. 2 eyes on the back of your cap tells the crow, I can see you coming. The voice of the crow. This is where most people are most wrong. Most people hear a crow call and hear noise. Irritating, repetitive, meaningless. What they're actually hearing is one of the most complex vocal communication systems in the bird world. American crows produce more than 20 distinct vocalizations. Each one carries specific information. The alarm call for a hawk is structurally different from the alarm call for a cat. The assembly call, the one that brings other crows to a specific location, is different from the mobbing call that coordinates group attacks on predators. Crows also produce soft conversational sounds, quiet gurgles, rattles, and clicks, used primarily between mated pairs and family groups. These sounds are almost never heard by humans because they require proximity and silence. They are the private language of the crow family. And then there's the teaching call. Crow parents use specific vocalizations to direct the attention of younger birds. A call that appears to function as, look at this, watch what I do. The crow is not making noise. It is talking. You simply have not learned the language. Now, why does the crow get everywhere now? Why your city? Why this decade? The crow is not an invasive species. It did not appear from somewhere else. It was always in the region. What changed is the city itself. Three things happened simultaneously across the last 50 years that turned every major city on Earth into optimal crow habitat: open garbage, artificial lighting that extends the feeding day, and the elimination of most natural predators that kept crow populations in check outside cities. In Suez, Egypt, a city surrounded by desert where natural crow habitat is limited, the urban environment provides year-round food and nesting sites that the surrounding landscape cannot. The crow did not invade the city. The city built a crow sanctuary without meaning to. The same pattern in Tokyo, Japan, where jungle crows, Corvus macrorhynchos, reached population levels so high in the early 2000s that the city launched a formal management program. The crow population in Tokyo had grown from approximately 7,000 in 1985 to over 36,000 by 2001. In Vancouver, Canada, consistently ranked as one of the most crow-attacked cities in the world. In Jerusalem and Ashdod, Israel, where hooded crow attacks have reached levels that local authorities describe as a public safety concern. In Seattle, where John Marsloff has been studying the urban crow population for over 2 decades. The crow is not malfunctioning, it is succeeding, and the city created the conditions for that success. What does the crow actually do for the ecosystem it now dominates? Crows are primary scavengers. In urban environments, they consume dead animals, food waste, and organic matter that would otherwise accumulate and become disease vectors. A single crow family can process several kilograms of organic waste per week. Crows also suppress populations of smaller pests, rats, mice, insects, through direct predation and competition. A neighborhood with a healthy crow population tends to have lower rodent pressure than one without. Crows are seed dispersers. They cache food, bury seeds and nuts in specific locations, and do not always retrieve every cache. Seeds germinate, trees grow. In urban environments where green space is limited, crow caching behavior contributes measurably to vegetation spread. The crow you resent for waking you up at 6 a.m. is the same crow that cleaned the street, chased the rat, and planted a seed. You just weren't watching for the last 2 parts. Now, the superstition. Where does the fear of the crow come from? The crow's association with death is ancient and nearly universal. In European folklore, crows were battlefield scavengers. They appeared after wars, after plagues, after disasters. They arrived when things were already wrong. The association was not superstition, it was observation. Crows follow death because crows eat carrion. They were reading the same signs humans were and arriving at the same places for different reasons. In Irish mythology, the goddess Bod took the form of a crow and appeared before battles to foretell death. In Norse mythology, Odin's 2 ravens, Hugin and Munin, thought and memory, flew across the world and brought him information. The crow as intelligence and foresight, not only death. In Native American cultures across North America, the Haida, the Tlingit, the Crow Nation itself regard the crow as a trickster and culture hero, a figure of intelligence, transformation, and creation, not death. In many traditions, the crow brought fire to humans. The science doesn't tell you what the crow means. That has always been a human decision. What the science tells you is what the crow is. And what it is one of the most cognitively complex, socially sophisticated, ecologically functional animals sharing your city with you right now. The crow that attacked you was protecting something it loved. The crow that remembered your face was doing something that most animals on Earth cannot do. It was storing the specific features of an individual human in long-term memory and retrieving that information years later with precision that scientists are still working to fully understand. The crow calling at 6 a.m. is communicating with its mate, its family, its neighbors, and with every bird in the neighborhood that knows how to listen. You've been sharing your city with one of the most intelligent birds on Earth. It has been watching you, learning you, remembering you, and talking about you for years. You just didn't know. Tell me in the comments, have you ever been targeted by a crow or watched one watching you? What happened and where were you? I read every single one. And if someone in your life has a crow story, send this to them, because now they will understand what actually happened. I'll see you in the next one.